years ago, I had a download about the uterus being a toroidal generator, and I sprinted across my house and wrote down notes galore. And I'm going to share all of my hard work with you today. When I realized that the uterus was a toroidal generator, which makes sense because it's literally creating a life. It needs to generate its own energy to do that. I realized it needs jump started, right? A generator needs a form of energy to get it going, and then it will perpetually self-generate. I had this download that sperm, obviously, it's the spark of life. You know how you have a spark plug? I'm like, they say it's the spark of life. I'm like, there is more to this. So I looked up ions very intensely over many, many years now, and I've realized that sperm ions are nuclear. They have actually a nuclear explosion, which is kind of amazing considering how the sperm gets out in the first place, right? It's kind of an explosive thing that happens. Sperm is literally the spark plug for human life, and it literally generates. It starts that uterus, which is a toroid, starts the human generator to start creating the baby. And I really believe that is where the man's DNA transfer happens, because with a nuclear explosion, obviously there's light. The ions are light. They're basically pure energy ions, and they are light. And so when that spark of ions actually occurs, there's an electrical transient that happens, meaning information jumps from the light into the egg, into the cell that creates the baby. This is known as electrical transient. This is what lightning is. This is what fiber internet is. Fiber internet is literally light. So the information is in the light and it gets transferred and processed by the computer or whatever device that you're using. So that's kind of amazing. And they hide this because they don't want you to realize how amazing of a design the human body is. And they also don't want you to realize that it's electromagnetic. Because if you do, then you'll start to look into electromagnetism and how you create a field, how you can change parts of reality, how the universe is vibrational. It leads you down this huge rabbit hole of power that you get back from them lying to you about your own human body. That nuclear explosion that the sperm literally is and creates, that creates a portal. The Hadron Collider proved this. They explain and describe that light was zipping in and out of reality. This is because it's in multiple realities at once. Kind of related to the quantum physics experiment known as the double slit experiment, which you definitely have heard about by now. In reality, energy, excitable energy, is in and out, in and out, in and out of reality because there's multiple dimensions. It's interdimensional. And that's, of course, how the soul gets into the uterus in the first place. Of course, it's a portal. Now, this is actually why the uterus is lined with iron, right? With blood. Because iron is semiconductive. It's also a natural substance, so it decays and it refreshes. And when you have a metal like that in a living organism, it needs to be renewed, and you want it to be biodegradable, right? Because the human being itself is biodegradable. So the iron deposits around the outside of the uterus are what make the uterus conductive and magnetic, and that's actually what attracts and draws the sperm into the uterus. The sperm isn't fighting to be the winner, so to speak. That's not actually what's happening. The information that the man releases is kind of dependent on what he's been absorbing and eating and all that, but most of those cells are relatively similar. The thing that's actually happening is the uterus itself is drawing magnetically these sperm ions in. This is really interesting stuff because everything is so connected through wavelengths, and hopefully your brain is going, wow, this is why they hid this. What I'm teaching right now is really, really important. It seems like kind of nothing, but this is the evidence your subconscious mind can rely upon, that not only are we designed beings that are in a designed system, but that electromagnetic wavelengths are what actually operate, create, and destroy in this world. And that is the key. That is a huge key that you're getting right now. Now, we call it breaking the waters. Waters are conductive. All of this is about a conductive environment, and we're in a conductive environment too, micro, macro. You're born inside a contained environment, and then when you get out of that contained environment, you're in a freaking other contained environment, because all gas needs to be contained, otherwise we wouldn't have gas pressure. Now, look, the nuclear energy is a binding energy as well. This is known in science. Nuclear energy binds. Now, this is really cool too, because that's exactly why sperm ions, are nuclear as well, is they bond with the female egg. And it splits into two lighter elements through a special element, and it's called fission. Information, the proof that we are designed human beings. We are absolutely designed biomechanical human beings.
Is a biomechanical, bioelectrical machines.
Women are toroidal generators, and men are literally nuclear explosions that start the spark of life. We live in an electromagnetic environment. And frequency and vibration makes shit or destroys it.